top 4 reasons why most applicants fail their CASPer test and how you could avoid those mistakes. I'm going to share with you what those 4 mistakes are in just a second, but first I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Behrouz Momeni. I'm the CEO and founder here at BeMo Academic Consulting, or BeMo, where we help students with admissions to highly competitive graduate and professional programs. Most students seek our help because they want to make sure that they put their best foot forward the very first time they apply, so they don't waste a lot of their time and money and energy going through the reapplication process, or they've been rejected in the past and they want to make sure that they don't make the same mistakes again. So what are those 4 mistakes? Well, here they are. Reason number 1 is because they either inadequately prepare for the test or they don't prepare for the test at all. And this happens because perhaps they've been on an admissions site, or maybe they went on the test administrator's website and they've seen things, mistaken conjectures, such as, hey, you know what? You don't need to prepare in advance. Just be yourself. Or, these types of situational judgment tests are immune to preparation, so you can't prepare anyways. Well, you know what? That's completely false, in my opinion. You can and must prepare in advance. Let me explain. Just like any other behavior you have acquired up to this point in your life, the behaviors and skill sets you need to ace the CASPer test, or do anything else in life, is a learned behavior. Nobody is born with skills that are tested on the CASPer test. Imagine you could find a newborn baby who was already a professional. Well, that's impossible. That sounds a little bit silly, where now you know why this is something that you must prepare in advance, just like any other test. In fact, some students, are already at a good baseline level because of their upbringing, but some students are not, and they need a lot more preparation. And it's not just knowing the skill sets and having those skill sets and characteristics, it's also the ability to convey them in a test setting such as the CASPer test. So make sure whatever you do, you definitely prepare in advance and allow yourself at least 6 to 8 weeks so that you can adequately prepare in advance. Reason number 2 why most applicants normally fail their CASPer test is because they mistake having information with having a personalized strategy. Sometimes students go online and they go on online forums, or they go and seek help from Dr. Google. And the problem with these sources is, first of all, you have no idea whether or not those information that you find is actually valid. Secondly, if they are even valid, that's not going to give you a personalized strategy. Remember, your goal is to stand out from the thousands, maybe tens of thousands of other applicants. But if you go on these sort of sources, it's impossible for you to stand out. This brings us to reason number 3. Reason number 3 is sometimes, in fact, students use the same sources that I just mentioned, such as Dr. Google or some online forum, to find sample CASPer questions, thinking that if they review sample questions, that's sufficient and they're going to be able to hopefully do well on their test. The assumption is that this is going to help them find something similar on the test. But guess what? You are probably never going to find similar questions that you find online on the actual test. The only way that we have found works really well for our students is to find specific ways to identify different types of questions and have a strategy for each different types of questions. If you can identify different types of questions and be able to have a strategy for them, well, then it doesn't matter what the actual questions are on your test. Whatever questions they throw at you, you're going to be able to ace them, no problem at all. Now, this was the third sort of reason, and now this brings us to our last reason, or reason number 4, why most students fail their CASPer test. And it's because they review these sort of sample questions and they also assume that their response to those sample questions is the right response. This is a really deadly mistake, because if you assume that you already are able to provide comprehensive answers to those sample questions you find, or God forbid you're finding help from online forums or Dr. Google to answer questions, then this assumption is going to carry over to the test, where you go in and you have a false sense of security, and you start answering questions with this sort of willy-nilly way of answering questions, not knowing whether or not your answers are actually correct or not. So the best solution for that is you have to make sure you, first of all, do realistic timed simulations of the CASPer test, not just reading random sample questions. You want to put yourself in the exact conditions, so it has to be a simulated practice test that you go through. And then once you do that, you need to seek the help of someone who's going to be able to read your responses and give you objective feedback. So this cannot be friends and family, because they cannot be objective for the most part, because they don't want to hurt your feeling. Who will you go to? You'll have to go to someone who is, for example, being a test evaluator, or it's been on admissions committee, or perhaps someone who is a practicing professional or medical doctor, or maybe someone who has at least got a PhD degree, or, for example, a university professor who is mature professional and can read your responses and tell you where you did poorly, so you can learn from your mistakes and figure out how to do better over time. That's the only way you could learn how to ace the CASPer test. Now, those were the 4 reasons we have found as a result of our work here at BeMo, and I hope you're able to take these tips that I provided for you, so you can do really well in your CASPer test, so you never have to go through this test process ever again. If you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you, go ahead and share it with someone who may enjoy it as well. And if you have any questions for us, definitely include it in the comment section. We're going to try to answer all your questions. And of course, go ahead and subscribe to whatever social media channel you're watching this, so you don't miss any of the next videos and tips and strategies that we'll be making for you. That was it for me, and I hope I'll talk to you soon.